Hello guys, Croft is here with another Alien video. I recently enjoyed reading the script for the movie Prometheus and I found many interesting details that I wanted to share with you. The script is more or less the same as the movie, however, many scenes and dialogues are extended and reveal tons of new information about engineers, their origins and homeworld, why they created humans, and also about the nature and the true purpose of the black goo. The script is over 150 pages, so I'm only going over things that are not included in the movie, and there are lots of them, which is why the video is pretty long. But it's totally worth it since we finally get answers for basically everything. On the top of that, all engineer dialogues and writings in the script are translated, so we're getting a clear understanding of things without over-theorizing. It's actually surprising that I haven't seen any videos talking about the script that gives lots of insights about the movie and fills some minor gaps in the plot. Also, it was pretty hard to find this script, probably because it was published by 20th Century Fox but then removed for some reasons. The script is written by Damon Lindelof, and the awakened engineer is referred in conversations as the last engineer. It's heavily implied that there are no more engineers left, which actually confirms that beings on the planet 4 were another race seeded by engineers. First, let's start with the extended opening scene in which there is a conversation between two engineers. The two engineers, one walking behind the other, stop right next to the river. They turn and face each other. The one standing closest to the river has a young, majestic, pure white face and black eyes. The other is hundreds of thousands of years older than him, and that is evident from the elder's wrinkled, thin, and almost wood-like skin. The elder holds out a box, simple but complex design, kneels down on the rocks and holds up the box. The elder, take this is the blood of our Lord. For we cannot create as the gift was stripped from us long ago. As always, we will continue our attempts to create a perfect Eden much like our own. You, the chosen one, will create it in your own image. Let your body become the dirt, your blood become the waters, and may your soul become their way back to us. The elder engineer departs, walking back up the gangplank into that enormous vessel. The lone engineer opens the box and takes out a small sealed cup, opens that seal, revealing a golden substance inside. There are lots of interesting details that are brought up in this dialogue. First, we learn that the substance in the sealed cup is the blood of their Lord, which really intrigued me when I first read it. I wouldn't say that the substance is completely gold in the movie, however, it certainly has some golden shades. But most importantly, we get a confirmation that it's not the black goo. Another thing is that the elder is thousands of years old. All of these new elements are addressed later in the script, so we'll get back to them. The next crucial detail is the writing on the door to the room with pathogen ampules. Luckily, David is able to translate it. David reads in engineer language. Only the chosen can pass through. This is sacred ground and must be kept sacred. If you dare to cross into sacred ground, you must be punished. This is the birthplace of our Lord, and no being is worthy. Then the crew asks David what it means, and he responds that we simply are not allowed to go inside. Later in the script, he actually opens the door despite the warning, which leads to everybody's death. When the door opens, the crew explores the head monument and different paintings on the walls, which are explicitly explained in the script. Shaw and Holloway rise up and look at the head monument in astonishment. David stops, shines his light up at the mural on the ceiling. The mural shows a creature coming out of an engineer. The engineer on the mural looks identical to the head monument. David looks at the language written on the face, and David speaks out the language quietly and unheard. Our chosen one, the chosen one who created our Lord. This is his resting place and our attempt of resurrecting our Lord's blood. Holloway arrives around the back of the monument and shines his light up at another mural which has been embedded on the wall. A strange being, unlike any engineer, is drawn on the mural. It has its arm out in a cross. Around the mural there's an image of an engineer being attacked and impregnated by some nasty looking octopus type creature. The being with its arms stretched out in a cross is a bipedal pointy-headed creature, the first Deacon. David arrives by Holloway's side and looks at this mural. He walks up to it and reads the engineer language. There are no subtitles. Our Lord came from the Chosen One in the time when our ancestors birthed life. His sacred blood was our salvation. His sacred blood through our lips birthed life on other worlds. Holloway, what do you think is inside these urns or vases, wherever they are? David, I'm not entirely certain, but I believe the humanoid seeing being attacked orally gave birth to this being, and your engineers worshipped it. I believe whatever's inside these capsules might be some kind of experiment. If my translation is correct, then they were trying to recreate the blood of this being whom they worshipped. Okay, there are many crazy things to discuss here. First of all, the engineer Lord came from the Chosen One who sacrificed himself, and the head monument was built in his name. From what I got in this passage, their Lord is portrayed on the mural in crucifix form, and it's the first Deacon. However, it's not the same Deacon that we get at the end of the movie, and I'll explain why in just a moment. Recall that the elder engineer said in the beginning, we cannot create as the gift was stripped from us long ago. As always, we will continue our attempts to create a perfect Eden, much like our own. The gift he's talking about is the ability to create new life or reproduce, so the sacred blood was their salvation, as it says in the script. Apparently, the blood of their Lord had unique and extraordinary properties that allowed to create simple cells that will eventually evolve into complex organisms. Despite the fact that engineers could live for thousands of years, they were slowly dying off, and their only way to prevent extinction was to seed with life other planets using the blood of the first Deacon. They were traveling through space, seeding planets with life in an attempt to recreate their homeworld, but the blood of the first Deacon was running out. For that reason, engineers started experiments to synthesize it, and as a result, they came up with the black goo, or the pathogen. When David brings one of the ampules back to the ship, he talks to Wayland in a dream. It appears that these beings can live up to 300,000 years. They used to be able to mate with each other just like humans, but somewhere in their late history they evolved and lost the ability to both mate and reproduce. But before they did, they found a creature that impregnated one of them with a foreign body. Another creature came from him. They called it the Deacon. They worshipped this Deacon, and after its death, they used its blood to plant the seeds of life on other worlds. The blood ran out, of course, but they tried to recreate the gene pool of this Deacon's blood. Instead, they created something else. This is what I brought back with me, sir. Obviously, David is talking about the urn containing the black goo ampules. Much later in the script, when Wayland, David, Shaw, and some other crew members approach the sleeping engineer, David explains that despite the fact that the black goo was the failed attempt of cloning the blood of the first Deacon, engineers realized its potential for weapons. A few moments later, the last engineer wakes up and explains why they decided to destroy Earth. Many worlds have been crafted by the hand of our fathers through the blood of our Lord. Yours was the only one that was successful. Yours is the only star child that it's like our homeworld. Then Shaw asks him why do they hate humans, and the engineer says this. hate, we gave you this emotion. We gave you all emotion we had expected not of your evolution. We took care of you, gave you fire, built your structures. We gave you Eden. We watched you time and time kill each other, start wars. We came back and saved your souls, but left you to make your own fate. However, your kind is a barbaric, violent species. We tried once more to save you. We took a mother's child back to paradise and educated him, taught him the meaning of life and creation. We put him back into Eden to educate your kind, but your kind decided to punish him. We gave you the fruits of life, but you repay us by leaving it to rot. You talk to me of hate, prepare for rapture. In this speech, the engineer pretty much confirms what we already knew from interviews with Ridley Scott, that because of barbaric nature of humans, engineers decided to destroy Earth. The only difference would be that engineers actually took a human child to their homeworld paradise and then brought him back to Earth in order to guide humanity on the right path. Obviously, this child is Jesus, but we crucified him, which led engineers to their final decision to use the black goo as a weapon to wipe the planet clean. It's really interesting that they used the blood of the first Deacon to seed life, but the Deacon that is born at the end of the movie is not the same type of Deacon, since it was a result of the pathogen. This creature is more of the opposite, because by trying to artificially create life, engineers ended up with the black goo. Literally the opposite of life, something that brings nothing but death and destruction. On the top of that, it's really ironic that the last engineer was a host for the deadly creature, just like the sacrifice engineer that gave birth to the first Deacon. I think what we learned in this script explains pretty much all the questions that we had about the black goo, the mural, the temple, and how it all relates to engineers. It is a little bit weird that everything is so explicitly explained in the script, but since it is a draft, it kinda makes sense. I don't think this script is fake because all the explanations make just too much sense. And why would somebody spend dozens of hours writing over 150 pages just to include a few extra lines that are not in the movie? That's why I'm sure that it is the actual draft written for Prometheus by the production crew. There are many other interesting details in the script that I'll probably talk about in future videos. But for now, leave your thoughts in the comment section. Did you have similar thoughts about the black goo and the engineers? Let me know down below. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content. My name is Croft, and I'll see you in the next video.